I remember coming to Harvard in the fall of '69. All of my new friends from Boston and New York, they had never met anyone from Ohio. They could not imagine why anyone would want to be from Ohio. They really didn't even know where Ohio was, candidly. They just knew it was somewhere way out there. And all they knew about Cleveland was that was the place where the river had caught on fire, because the Cuyahoga River really had caught on fire that summer. 50 years ago, if you didn't know what you wanted to do or be, everyone said, well, just go to law school. I decided I really did like law and I wanted to be a lawyer. And so then I went to law school. I really only had like 2.5 jobs. I started with the Antitrust Division, Department of Justice in Cleveland. At the beginning of the Reagan administration, let's just say antitrust enforcement was not a top priority of the Justice Department, and I could feel myself getting a little cynical about it. And what I have always felt about public service, you want to have your heart and soul in it, and if it's not, it's better that you do something else. So I thought, well, maybe getting transferred to the U.S. Attorney's Office would be a good thing. So I kept my name in, and then I got picked. So I was a federal prosecutor for 22 years, and then got in my mind's eye that maybe I could do this job as a federal judge, and I was the longest of long shots. But sometimes there's an advantage to be a long shot. No one really took my candidacy very seriously. And a lot of things broke the right way. I mean, any federal judge looks you in the eye and says there was not a whole lot of luck involved in his or her appointment is not being candid or has forgotten a lot of things. I'm a senior judge, and I've been a senior judge for about 1.5 years, and I'm still not fully adjusted to having senior connected to my name. The 3 R's is a terrific program that a good friend of mine started about 15 years ago with the Cleveland Bar Association. And the 3 R's are rights, responsibilities, reality. And we go into the Cleveland Metropolitan School District and talk to 10th and 11th graders. And the curriculum is based on constitutional rights. And we lead a discussion, and sometimes we have some problems, and sometimes there are exercises. I guess there are really 3 purposes. First, to give a little education, some civic literacy, because the civic literacy in our country is deplorably low. We talk about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, Fourth Amendment, police encounters, all of that. So some civic literacy. Some of the stuff's real important because you're an African American growing up in the inner city. You need to know how to handle yourself when you encounter a police officer. Because if you do it wrong, you might not survive it. So this isn't just academic. So we go through all that. What you do if you're stopped, where you have your hands. So we also talk to them about the career and career planning, and the idea being that, yes, they'll have a future, but they've got to make it happen. So start thinking about it in 10th, 11th grade. What are they going to do after high school? I'm overseeing this opioid multidistrict litigation, which is by many, many orders of magnitude the hardest thing I've ever tried to do professionally. I started with 200 cases. I'm overseeing 3,000. I don't think there's anyone in Ohio who doesn't have a family member, a friend, a child of a friend who hasn't been hit by overdose, addiction, and maybe death. I barely was able to pick a jury last week. I had to excuse so many people whose immediate family has been hit by overdose and addiction. There have been 9 global settlements. The last 5 are right on the verge of closing, and they total $50 billion. So I think I feel pretty good that we've been able to accomplish that. And maybe the thing I feel best about, I learned at the beginning that about 150 of the cases had been brought by Native American tribes, going from the largest to the smallest. So they've been devastated by opioids. And I remember saying, I don't know if there will ever be any big settlements, but if there are, the Native American tribes are going to be included. Because I had resolved I was not going to be the latest chapter in the federal government screwing over Native Americans. And I am heartened that the Native American tribes have gotten 3% of all of the global settlements. So that's about $1.5 billion. So that will certainly help the tribes deal with all their members who've been addicted. I've never regretted going to Harvard when we did. Being around people who really planned to do something with their lives, without a doubt, made me a better person. You had to think, I mean, why am I on this earth? What am I going to do? I mean, what is all this about? What am I going to do with this Harvard degree, which is a real gift and a blessing?